How competitive does a society have to be to drain the vibrancy from a lively youth? Is it the endless homework that keeps them up at night? The backpacks too heavy to bear? The elusive jobs that remain out of reach despite their competence? Or even the low-paying jobs that barely sustain them under demanding bosses? The lives of Chinese children seem like a series of endless obstacles. Elementary students bear the weight of backpacks as heavy as rocks. Middle schoolers, at an age when they should enjoy playing, are buried under a never-ending pile of assignments. A middle school girl in a video laughs hysterically at her desk before breaking down in tears. The reason being she finally finished her homework at dawn. High school students face mountains of books and papers. Some students, overwhelmed by their endless assignments, are slowly breaking down. They live in a society where falling behind is not an option, even when ill. What will become of these students, crushed under such pressure, once they enter university? These young adults in their 20s should be full of life and vitality. Instead, they appear listless, their spirits drained by the intense pressures of education. Recently, a video from Tsinghua University's 113th anniversary celebration went viral. It showed parade participants looking unusually despondent, drawing comparisons to the sluggish state of China's economy in many comments. The video reveals that students in the anniversary parade at Tsinghua University wore white military band uniforms and red outfits with uneven formation. Regardless of whether they were drumming or carrying flags, all participants appeared lethargic and listless. Some male students were slouching with a forward lean, while female students holding trumpets looked as if they were half asleep. Chinese people often refer to their youth as the future of the motherland or the son of tomorrow, but this video displayed none of that youthful vigor. This anniversary event at Tsinghua University sparked widespread criticism online. Some comments compared the white-clad student procession to rural funeral bands who are often hired at a low fee for ceremonies in the countryside, where musicians, though often elderly, still display more energy than these university students. Such an anniversary should be a moment of excitement, showcasing the spirit of the institution. Instead, the participants appeared lifeless, indistinguishable from soulless zombies, leading to public demands for an explanation from the university dean. After watching the video, some viewers expressed deep discomfort, noting that Tsinghua University students are regarded as some of China's finest. Having been selected through rigorous middle and high school exams, these students are likely among the most physically and intellectually gifted of their generation. Yet the video depicts these exceptional individuals as devoid of hope for life and the future. Media personality Si Yuan Grandma commented, "Tsinghua University is considered the pinnacle of higher education in China, a dream university for many students. However, the demeanor of Tsinghua students at the 113th anniversary celebration is utterly bewildering. How can the world's second largest economy truly progress with such a spirit? I hardly dare say more." Another viewer remarked that the students' performance during the celebration seemed as if they were barely fed, appearing ready to faint at any moment. The students looked reluctant, walking as though they were navigating a minefield, terrified of triggering an explosion with a misstep. Their expressions were blank, like marionettes, lacking the vibrancy and spirit expected in a university setting, not to mention the youthful energy typically associated with their age. Professor Zhao Dongmei from Peking University's History Department reflects on this phenomenon. "There was a time when our students were eager to speak out. Now we have to coax words out of them, as they are hesitant to express themselves. Our generation might have been more naive. We didn't fret over future employment or housing because home ownership wasn't as pressing back then. We navigated college without much foresight and only considered these issues as we approached graduation. Today, however, students are burdened with these concerns from their first day at university. They experience their college years as a countdown, constantly wrestling with the prospects of jobs and housing after graduation. Our era was more laid back. We enjoyed our student days free from societal pressures. But the intense competition and stress now strip today's students of their joy, leaving them perpetually anxious. The influence of China's exam-oriented education system, which prioritizes grades over physical development, raises concerns about the physical and mental well-being of university students as they face societal pressures post-graduation. So what awaits these highly educated and talented individuals after graduation? Even the most educated and talented may find themselves jobless, their hard-earned entry tickets to society proving futile. Once hailed as a prodigy, Zhang Xinyang was admitted to university at just 10 years old. By the age of 16, while his peers were still in high school, he had already begun his doctoral studies, a milestone that made him the proudest and earned him the title of China's youngest PhD. He stood out among China's youth, having won multiple gold medals in international mathematics competitions. Now, as he approaches 30, Zhang finds himself unemployed and leading a life of lying flat, with no ambitions and dependent on his parents for support. Meanwhile, many young people are enduring 996 work schedules, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, sacrificing their health for uncertain futures. A young woman speaking to the camera after years of intense work confesses that her health has severely suffered as a result of her dedication. People who are physically weak should avoid overworking. Just now, my gastroenteritis flared up again, and I feel extremely weak. I'm only 23 years old, but since starting work, my health has deteriorated to what you expect in someone in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. Throughout my working years, I've always pushed myself too hard, constantly overthinking things. I'm ambitious, but my health is fragile. In this society, we are constantly expected to push ourselves and others to the limit. But do we really know what kind of life we want to live? Not at all, and it's getting clearer every day that we are just ordinary people. Life is short, so why not be happier and kinder to ourselves? 34-year-old Xiaoqing, who has been unemployed for 8 months, shares her perspective. This is advice from me, 34 years old, and unemployed for 8 months. When I was working, I always felt busy, too busy to live my own life or pursue my hobbies, with all my time consumed by work. You only know that I once earned a monthly salary of $20,000, but you don't know that I once suffered from severe anxiety due to work stress. Only those who have experienced it can understand the pain. In order to get promoted and get a pay raise, I spent every day in the office, even working overtime during national holidays, just to get products launched sooner and to show performance results to my leaders. I worked overtime frequently, often only getting to sleep in the early morning because I couldn't sleep, constantly living in fear and anxiety, which made my anxiety progressively worse, to the point of feeling completely out of control and wanting to escape. So to those still in the workforce, I urge you not to burn yourselves out or get too caught up in these internal competitions. Remember, work is temporary. Your life and health are what truly matter. Since the wave of layoffs swept through China, the employment rate for recent graduates has hit record lows, bringing the concept of lying flat into frequent public discussion. Now that 2 years have passed, nothing can remain the same, but would either get better or worse. In 2024, it seems even lying flat is a luxury many young people can no longer afford. Surviving has become the new luxury. Now young people facing intense competition in education and work are beginning to face unemployment issues. Unemployment among university students has become a major, persistent, and significant challenge in China's declining economy. Unemployment anxiety has become a common issue faced by all Chinese university graduates and those already in the workforce. Mei Mei is a job seeker in Shanghai, but she has been unemployed for 7 months now, which has led her to question her own capabilities. I've been unemployed for 7 months and I'll be turning 30 this July. I graduated from Boston University in 2016 with a degree in film and television. Since last August, I've been unable to secure a formal job that includes social insurance and a housing fund. It's been quite some time since the holidays, and though I'm aware that I don't have a clear career path laid out, I'm puzzled by the expectation that everything must be perfect. Why can't there be room for error? Why did I leave my last job? It's because it was too draining and demoralizing, diminishing my sense of achievement and causing me to doubt myself. Now, I feel capable yet remain unemployed, which makes me question my value in the workforce. Sometimes I wonder why it appears that I'm the only one failing. I'm not suited for late nights or excessive overtime, as previous overwork led to moderate chronic gastritis and a weakened immune system. Whenever I'm too exhausted, I get a fever. Is that really so wrong? Even locals in major cities are struggling to find employment. Today marks my 128th day of unemployment. I'm a Hangzhou local and have been with my previous company for over 3 years. After it shut down, I took some time to rest at home, planning to start job hunting after the holidays. Despite my efforts, I've had no luck finding work. I reached out to over 1,400 companies on Boss-Zhipin, and I have an interview scheduled for today. I'm currently getting ready, doing my makeup. I'll update you on how the interview goes later. There really are a lot of people competing for this job. It's just too competitive. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics of China reveals that the unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds was 14.6% in January 2024 and 15.3% in both February and March. On April 16th, the Deputy Director of the National Bureau of Statistics of China, Sheng Lai-yun, stated that the youth unemployment rate slightly increased in the first quarter and warrants significant attention. Between April and June last year, the youth unemployment rate had already surpassed 20%, reaching as high as 21.3% in June 2023. In response to this, the Chinese government attempted to suspend the publication of these figures, aiming to reduce the unemployment rate by changing the statistical methodology. In January 2024, the National Bureau of Statistics of China revised the criteria for calculating the youth unemployment rate, excluding graduates from the statistics. This means university graduates for that year who have not yet found employment are no longer counted in the unemployment figures. Consequently, even if all 11.8 million university graduates of 2024 fail to secure employment, they will not be included in the youth unemployment rate for the first half of the year. The employment data for the second half will continue to be manipulated by the government. Despite efforts by the Chinese government to obscure these figures, the unemployment rate in the first quarter still shows an upward trend. The youth unemployment rates for February and March were 0.4 percentage points higher than in December of the previous year. The surge in unemployment among university graduates can be attributed to the Chinese government's suppression of private enterprises. According to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, there are 56 million employees in state-owned enterprises, a decrease of over 10 million in the past 20 years. From 2004 to 2022, the proportion of employment in state-owned units as part of urban employment has dropped from 25% to 12%. In contrast, private enterprises and individual businesses employ 295 million people, an increase of 240 million, with their share in urban employment rising from 20% to 60%. The Employment Promotion Committee of the China Association of Labor Economics estimates that each new small and micro enterprise creates 3.4 jobs. Among them, state-owned enterprises require an investment of 3 to 5 million yuan per job. Large private enterprises need 500,000 to 700,000 yuan, while small and micro enterprises require less than 50,000 yuan per job. Private enterprises are more capable of absorbing employment, proving to be a better prospect for increasing employment among university graduates. Former chairman of the China Private Economy Research Committee, Zhuang Chongshen, stated that employment positions provided by various levels of party and government agencies, public institutions, and state-owned enterprises make up about 12% of all employment opportunities. Additionally, foreign enterprises account for about 5%, while the private economy comprises more than 83%. However, the reality is that these private enterprises, which accommodate the majority of employees, are struggling to survive. Over the years, the Chinese Communist Party has continually suppressed private enterprises, restricted their operational space, promoted public-private partnerships, confiscated private property, and targeted private entrepreneurs. There are numerous instances where private business owners have seen their wealth erased and their families imprisoned overnight. At the end of 2023, female entrepreneur Ma Yijie was criminally detained by local police on charges of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. She had undertaken 10 government projects, including relocation projects for poverty alleviation in Liupanshui, Guizhou, as well as kindergartens and elementary schools, and was owed payments for 8 years. Her persecution came without cause, merely for seeking debts owed by the government. According to a report by the Tsinghua News Agency, executive president of the Guangdong Province System Reform Research Society, Peng Peng, said that confidence in the market is low among Chinese private enterprises. Large enterprises are laying off employees, and small and micro enterprises are hesitant in recruitment, all of which exacerbate the internal competition for jobs. A survey conducted by the Beijing Dacheng law offices on 1,410 Chinese private enterprises showed that 49% of the businesses stated they have no intention of any major recruitment in the next 2 years. 26% are not planning to expand, and 6% are considering layoffs. As China's economic conditions worsen, top-tier cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are experiencing decline, with foreign businesses withdrawing and various industries fading. This has led to a significant increase in local unemployment rates and diminishing career opportunities, prompting some university students to return to their hometowns for employment. The Chinese government actively promotes this shift, encouraging more graduates to look towards smaller cities, sparking a trend of rural employment. The untold truth that the Chinese government wants to conceal is that the university students returning home for jobs are primarily from privileged families in county towns, supported by the intricate network of connections among the local authorities. The saying, "a cup of tea, a cigarette, a newspaper read over half a day," reflects the long-standing practice of nepotism within the Chinese Communist Party system that has persisted from the 70s and 80s to today. This includes generations of police, tax, banking, and tobacco employees, where government privileges and the state-owned system ensure the succession of power and wealth to the local elites of the Chinese Communist Party. The recent trending story of a 10-year-old boy in Guangde Anhui claiming he will inherit his father's role as head of the Agricultural Development Bank exemplifies this issue. In response to data published by MICOS, Voice of America interviewed 2 Chinese youths. The respondents believe MICOS' survey does not reflect the actual situation. Wei, a 21-year-old tourism student, mentioned that job opportunities in county towns are scarce, with low salaries and limited industries. Apart from government institutions, private businesses struggle to survive locally. Using the tourism sector in Chongqing as an example, Wei noted that the average monthly salary in major cities ranges from 2,000 to 3,000 yuan, while it is only 1,000 to 1,500 yuan in county towns. This discrepancy contrasts with MICOS' data. Wei also mentioned that out of a class of 50 students in his school in Chongqing, only about 25 have job opportunities. Their honest perception is that the Chinese government would never admit that the unemployment rate could be as high as 50%. What is the actual unemployment rate in Chinese society? It is likely much higher than what outsiders can imagine. University students, being one of the most intellectually active groups in society, face immediate unemployment upon graduation. This poses significant pressure on societal stability in the Chinese Communist Party regime and starkly illustrates the tragic lives of children in China who from birth are already caught up in relentless competition and ultimately ending up with nothing.